Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the Humility Project in Victoria has a new home. Ganado police have a suspect in the dumping of 500 pounds of trash in that city. And it's getting so hot in the Houston area, some major roads are buckling under the heat.
Yes, you know about the heat, but did you know about the tropics? We'll get a load of this. We've got Brett, we've got possible Cindy, and we got possible Don out here. So we will be looking at the tropics and giving you an update coming up.
And a Crossroads athlete is a national champion yet again. We see who's bringing back the gold in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. More than 60 confirmed cases of people getting hospitalized with shigella symptoms reported to the Texas Department of State Health Services from Victoria, Yoakum, Hallettsville, and Shiner. The Hallettsville Tribune-Herald reports all the cases reported involved people who they had eaten recently at Hallettsville's Cabo San Lucas restaurant. DSHS reports the restaurant did not have a policy that tells workers they should inform the boss that they don't feel well. The Humility Project has a new home. The Unitarian Universalist Church on Crestwood Drive handed over the keys to Director Kim Pickens. The Humility Project says it plans to use the home to provide better services to homeless people in the area. The Unitarian Universalist Church never recovered from the COVID-19 pandemic, so church leaders decided to give the building to Kim Pickens and the Humility Project.
Work with them for applications and whatever they need in order to get their footing, but also to provide them with an address they can use for mail, to also give them a place where if they need to come and sit and have some water, have a conversation, get out of the elements.
The Humility Project's new address is 1791 East Crestwood. If you'd like to get involved, call Kim Pickens at 361-433-5388. And this brings us to your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. Are you familiar with the Humility Project? The choices were I've donated, I've volunteered, I've used services, or no. Let's look at the numbers. 6% of the voters said they've donated, 1% said they've volunteered, 2% said they've used services, and 91% voted no. We thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. We'll have an update on 25 News now at 10. Ganado police had these surveillance pictures of a man suspected of dumping over 500 pounds of garbage in Ganado during the early morning hours last Saturday. Ganado PD also has pictures of the suspect's truck. The trash and waste dumped in the work area on the north side of Ganado. If you have any information, tips can remain anonymous by calling the Ganado Police Department at 361-771-2800 or by calling the Jackson County Sheriff's Office dispatch non-emergency phone number at 361-782-3541. A vehicle fire Wednesday morning in Ganado. Jackson County Sheriff's Office reports the fire was at FM 710 at U.S. Highway 59 on the access road in the north side of Ganado. The roadway was shut down at that location. The National Weather Service issues excessive heat warnings for 2 area counties. DeWitt and Lavaca counties under excessive heat warnings until 9 o'clock tonight. The National Weather Service says maximum heat index values up to 118 degrees, temperatures up to 112 degrees expected in those counties. TxDOT crews Wednesday fixing the Beltway 8 westbound frontage road in southwest Houston. This comes after crews had to close down Highway 6 on Tuesday after officials say the road buckled due to extreme heat. KTRK reports 5 to 10 roads have buckled since last Friday, all due to the heat. This happens because the concrete expands and simply has nowhere to go. Summer officially begins today with a record heat wave in Texas. Experts predict much of the country is in for a scorching season.
Today is the first day of summer. For kids, that means no school, water fun, and of course, ice cream. But for the planet,
We are now in this summer season of severe weather events.
people in Texas can attest to that. Parts of the South are kicking off summer with excessive heat warnings. So, how hot is it?
It's a rule. We have mandatory swimming every day.
According to the National Weather Service, several Texas cities have new heat records from this week. Officials there are worried about a record-setting strain on the power grid.
Voluntary conservation is a very widely used industry tool that can help lower demand for specific periods of time.
And this photo shows cookies baking in a car in central Texas. But the rest of the country isn't off the hook. Officials predict above average temperatures in most states this summer. Ocean warmth is already record-setting, and toasty waters are even a concern in the Midwest.
Some fish simply aren't built to handle excessive heat, and when the water gets too hot, they die.
Experts predict broader records in the next 2 years as El Nino combines with climate change.
Countries can prepare fresh water. They can prepare for potentially upcoming drought or an increased risk for drought or an increased risk for flooding.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And now let's take a first look at your forecast. Here's First Warning Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, you're dealing with, pardon the pun, another hot topic.
Yes, well, I've got the heat and I've got the tropics as well, but in honor of the first day of summer, I thought I'd pretend like I'm standing in the pool here. But no, just wanted you to know that it's popsicle weather and it's going to be like this for quite some time. Summer actually began for us at 9:58 this morning, and forecast, well, you know the forecast. It's just going to be hot. High temperatures today, believe it or not, we made it to 100. It's 93 right now. 110 is the heat index. And the tropics are very busy, and we'll be talking about that all coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. The Texas Tribune ranks every member of the State House and Senate after their votes during this year's now ended regular legislative session. The Tribune ranks State Senator District 18 Lois Kolkhorst as the 6th most conservative Senate member, while State Representative District 30 Jeannie Morrison ranked as the 10th least conservative House member. The Texas Senate met Tuesday and Wednesday to hear from a secretive committee directed to create the rules for the impeachment trial of suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton. The Texas Tribune reports the Senate took no public action on trial plans despite several long meetings. Tuesday night, senators recessed until 10 Wednesday morning, then followed up by recessing again twice until 5 o'clock this afternoon, with hopes that more delays would not be needed. 2 people arrested in connection with the disappearance of a San Antonio girl. Authorities said 21-year-old Naya O'Donnell and 34-year-old Nikki Garcia were arrested on a charge of kidnapping. Authorities said the suspects arrested are known acquaintances to 7-year-old Mariana Marie Benavides. An Amber Alert was issued for her Monday night. She was found safe and in good health early Tuesday morning. An El Paso man is in critical condition after being shot while driving an Uber. The woman accused of shooting him says she thought he was trying to kidnap her. Daniel Piedra Garcia shot on Friday by a passenger from Kentucky. Now, authorities say Phoebe Copas told police she shot Piedra because she thought he was kidnapping her. Neurologists told Piedra's family there's nothing more they can do to help him. Copas is now in jail on a $1 million bond. She has a bond hearing set for Friday. Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave this week. Law enforcement officials make 17 weekly arrests. The Calhoun Port Authority Board approved joining the Victoria Economic Development Corporation. And Port Lavaca gets a new skateboard shop for the youngsters of the city. You can read these stories and more at the PortLavacaWave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. You do all that, then you're on our YouTube page. That's Crossroads Today. All right, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6, the latest on how a Texas city is recovering from a massive tornado last week. Also ahead, the temperatures rising, so are summer utility bills. Tornado ripped through Perryton last week. The food bank there feeding the public.
This food bank was hit Thursday night. Around 100 people had been in the building prior to the tornado's deadly strike.
We were watching the weather, saw it starting getting bad up north. I live north of town, so I left to go check on my son. And in that 10-minute time span that I left, the tornado hit the building.
Jireh Outreach Ministries, a local food bank here in Perryton, was able to save 90% of food products after last week's tornado. At this time, the food bank has relocated to the Community Worship Center. Vinostall says Jireh is working on long-term goals to feed the public, specifically senior citizens, as the community recovers from tornado damage. United Supermarkets lost power in items such as water, milk, and other basic necessities. It took teamwork to recover.
Our staff, from the newest sacker to the most veteran person, they came in on their days off. They worked more than their scheduled shift just to help get everything back up and going.
Estrada says the store is 100% restocked and ready to help the community at a moment's notice.
We're a family. We're all in this together, and we'll rebuild. And we'll get through this together.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record this week. The new fitness court opens at the Cuero Municipal Park. DeWitt County Vietnam veterans award scholarships. And Pastor Glenn Robertson celebrates 30 years with the First Baptist Church of Cuero. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. A hot, steamy first official day of summer, and those warmer temperatures across the country this summer mean higher utility bills. Here are some tips to help you keep costs down this season.
And then here it goes up to 200.
Bracing for a hot summer with high utility bills as costs for water, electricity, and even gas tends to climb as the temperatures rise.
It's going to be a long summer. Now it's a matter of, will I have enough money for rent?
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, average electricity prices expected to rise about 2% from last year. And while the latest consumer price index showed energy costs decline 3.6% in May, prices are still too high for some Americans.
I think of the people who are going to have to make choices between paying their electricity bill, paying for food, paying for medicine or health care.
Here are 5 tips to keep utility bills down this summer. Number 1, use your dishwasher instead of hand washing. While it does use electricity, it saves energy and water. The U.S. Department of Energy says that could save you thousands of gallons of water each year. Also, air dry the dishes to reduce your dishwasher's energy. Number 2, raise the thermostat and use a fan. Raising the temperature and using a fan can help you use less energy running your air conditioner. Number 3, switch to more efficient bulbs. LED bulbs use at least 75% less energy than incandescent lighting. Number 4, use cold water when you wash laundry. The Department of Energy says 90% of electricity used to wash a load goes towards heating the water. Number 5, check the air ducts. Holes, clogs, and leaks can lower your HVAC's efficiency. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
All good tips, and of course, washing and drying your clothes early in the morning or late at night once the sun goes down. 93 degrees right now, folks, and congratulations. Today being the first day of summer, well, we hit 100 degrees. That, of course, compares to our average high of 93. We've been as warm as 104, but we're not setting any records, and I don't think we need to. Coming up, we'll be talking about the heat, the tropical activity that's boiling in the Atlantic. All that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, another scorcher of a day, wall-to-wall sunshine for us, as you can see right about there in the crossroads. But we may be getting some of this cloud stuff that's actually boiling up in the hill country. Once again, in exactly the same spot where the dry line is, we boiled a bunch of thunderstorms that are getting pretty hungry. These are nasty storms. These are dropping a lot of rain and probably half-inch hail. You can see Kerrville and Camp Wood, and it looks like Bernie will be getting it next, and then San Antonio. Now, generally these things collapse once the sun goes down, but I'm not so sure about this particular cluster. It looks pretty strong, and I think it'll at least make it to the I-35 corridor. So for the rest of the evening, I'm going to be watching it for you. I'll let you know if it gets any closer to our area. Of course, we continue with our weather hazards. These are all the heat advisories that are up and down for all of the counties of Texas, and the heat advisories in the yellow go all the way up here to the Panhandle and to South Texas. In the red, we are in the excessive heat warning. So out in far west Texas, Abilene, San Angelo, they are really scorching. But things are getting really active in the tropics. This, of course, is Brett. This would be possibly Cindy, and this maybe even Don. You know, we have a guy around here named Don that's very popular.
I know him well, thank you.
We're naming it after him. But as we close in on Brett, you see it right about here. Brett, on Thursday, will be rolling over the Lesser Antilles, or the Windward Islands, and the small islands of the Caribbean. And the good news is twofold. One, this will be a strong tropical storm. It's not it may not even get to hurricane strength, which is good. I mean, it's still going to be rainy and windy. There's still going to be some damage, but it's not a major storm. And then once it crosses over into the Caribbean, ordinarily I'd be going crazy talking about something in the Caribbean, but the indications from all the computer models is that Brett will fall apart. In fact, that's where he is now, and going this way in yellow would be Category 1, but you can see how it's going to weaken as it gets down into the Caribbean. And why? Let me tell you why. Here's the tropics, and watch this. Here is the opposing wind we've been talking about. This is the upper winds that would be going this way. So Brett's going in one direction, and then it opposes, it gets the shear, and so it falls apart. So it's basically running into a hostile environment right here in the Caribbean. So Brett may no longer be a threat as far as we're concerned anywhere along the Gulf Coast. For my friends in Port Lavaca, getting up to 92 after a 83 morning start. And up in Cuero, 81 for the start of the morning, 98 for the afternoon. And of course, we're looking at no real change in our weather. Whatever you're doing to stay cool, just keep doing it. We're looking at a heat index tomorrow of 118, and that's pretty bad. Today we made the 100, tomorrow 98. Oh, a cooling trend, how about that? But we're gonna hover in the upper 90s to near 100 for the next 7 days, folks. So try and stay cool the best you can. That's your 7-day forecast. We also have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your cell phone. We'll be tossing it back to Don.
All right, Mag, thank you. And now we're going to toss to Sports Director Gino Perez. But I got to tell you, Gino, it was great to see a former West volleyball player that I covered, and now she's the new head coach at East. That's neat.
Yeah, and she's not the only one. There's yet another head volleyball coach at West. So we hear from both of them coming up after the break. At a crossroads, the 2023 U.S. National Championships are in its final day, and a Victoria gymnast is bringing home the title of national champion yet again. Callie Ganaway was in second place yesterday in the level 9 trampoline prelims, just behind her teammate Daisy Rickman, but that changed today. With a total score of 90.86, Ganaway won the national title by a margin of 0.8 points. Rickman unfortunately dropped to third place with a score of 89.84 points, which was just 0.2 points out of winning a silver medal. Ganaway was accompanied by her coach, who is also her father, Chad Ganaway. But the day is not over yet for Rickman and Ganaway. The duo will be competing in synchro to hopefully bring home 2 more gold medals. They will compete tonight at 8:30, and congratulations, girls. There are 2 new head volleyball coaches at Victoria High Schools, and they know each other pretty well. Both Garrett Gomez and Shelby Spradley were assistant coaches under Alicia Hill, who had been at Victoria West for nearly a decade. Now Gomez is taking charge at West as head coach. This is his first head coaching job at the high school level, and he is hoping to bring that energy that he had as an assistant coach, the new drills, and making the program his own.
I hope to just take the reins and run with it. I really hope that the girls can respond to me as much as possible, the staff can respond to me as much as possible, and that we can just continue the legacy that has been Victoria West volleyball. And I hope that I can just bring the exact same reputation, if not a better one, going forward.
And the new Victoria East head coach, Spradley, used to play college volleyball at Tyler Junior College. Her goals for her first year are to change the culture, instill hard work and intensity, but most importantly, lead her team to more wins.
I've always played volleyball my whole life, and so once I started coaching 2 years ago, I was like, this is my next step. I need to be a head coach. So I started applying, and once I got the confirmation that I got the job at East, I was super excited.
The former assistants are both in the middle of strength and conditioning workouts with their teams. The 2 Victoria teams will have tryouts on July 31st and continue through August 1st. The Lady Titans will play its first game on August 8th against the Floresville Tigers. The West Lady Warriors will also have its first game on August 8th against Navarro and Piper. The Victoria Generals are on a 3-game win streak and are hosting a 3-time state tournament qualifier in the Shiner Comanches today at Riverside Stadium. The Comanches will be honored around 6:40 to 6:45, which will be followed by a first pitch, which will be at 7:05. Lastly, the TCU Horned Frog season comes to an end today as they fall by 1 run to the Florida Gators. The run came in the bottom of the 9th inning when the shortstop loses his footing and cannot get the out at first. TCU did have a ball that shot into the outfield, but did not have enough to get over the fence. Game over, final score 3-2. That's your sports. Don, back to you.
Wow, what a way to lose. Wow, I tell you. All right, Gino, thank you. We're back in a moment. Hey, farmers, the future is now. We'll show you the world's first unmanned combine harvester. That's after the break. Finally tonight, Japanese agricultural machine maker Kubota unveiled the world's first unmanned combine harvester. The machine works by first having a human operator drive the vehicle once around the outer boundary of the field. It can then automatically determine the optimal reaping route and harvest products to use. The move comes as Japan's agricultural sector grapples with worker shortages. Kubota hopes its products will help cut labor and improve efficiency. But I just hope that doesn't make some people lose their jobs. You know?
Some farmers might be happy. They might be happy to be inside, especially.
I guess that's right.
A bunch of farmers will be in the patio doing the remote control with a little iPad or something. Going, oh, let's go to the back 40 now. Okay.
Yes.
Well, it's another story that we haven't been talking about is, the corn was growing really well, and now the heat is beginning to desiccate it, dry it out.
Not good for the cotton.
Hopefully they get out there and harvest as best they can, because there's really no relief today. Congratulations, folks. Our first day of summer. Yes, yesterday was springtime. Can you believe it? 98 tomorrow after our 100 today. And there's no really change in the next 7 days. But I mentioned a change in about 12 days, about July the 3rd, and I'm holding on to that we may get a pattern change that will help us out of this brutal heat. I'm not saying it's going to be cool. I'm just saying it won't be so hot.
Yeah, that would be good. All right, Mag, thank you, and thanks for joining us. Hey, we'll see you tonight for 25 News now at 10. Have a good one, everybody.